The next tool to look at is the Solid by Extrusion Along tool. That's this one. And if we look at the tool settings window, we can see the settings for this particular tool. Now, as its name implies, the tool extrudes a profile along a pre-drawn path. Now, the options are alignment, normal or parallel. You would normally use the normal alignment because that maintains a fixed relationship with the normal plane of the path and the profile as it twists along the path. You'll see how this works shortly. For parallel, the profile maintains its original orientation. In other words, it doesn't twist with the path. Now, this can cause problems if the profile conflicts with the path. In fact, you'll see warning signs in the status line that the extrusion may fail. The scale factor allows the profile to be scaled as it projects along the length of the path. And likewise, the spin option can spin the profile as it projects along the path. You don't normally need lock profile rotation on, which lets you define the direction of the orientation of the profile. That gets pretty complex, and we won't even be looking at that. Circular options allow you to automatically define a circular extrusion, and you can set an inside radius and an outside radius, as we'll be doing very shortly, to generate a pipe with a wall thickness. Allow self-intersection means that the geometry can intersect itself, but you have to be a little careful with this because you may see a fairly long processing time for the geometry. And again, we have keep path and keep profile. Now, an important point to note is that the tool will maintain the relationship between the profile and the path along the length of the path. This has important implications for rounded or for sharp corners. Rounded corners will generate smooth transitions, while sharp corners will generate mited transitions. The path element must be a connected line string or complex chain, and the profile must be a closed shape. Let's start with some samples here. Now, in the front view, I'm going to use Place SmartLine to place a couple of curves. So I'm going to switch to my tilde key and generate arcs first. And I'm going to drag a radius of 12 inches. And I want the first arc to be about there, I think. So I'm doing this, and I'm doing a 90-degree arc. Data point, and at 90 degrees here, again a 12-inch radius, using previous distance, data point, and drag the arc 90 degrees again. That will do just fine. So if you would copy that, that would be good. Now I'm going to switch to the isometric view. There's my path. Let's start with the tool and turn on circular. Inside radius and outside radius is on. And I've got a radius of 1 for inside and 2 for the outside. They're inches, of course. And all you have to do now is select the element, which is the path. There's the path. We select it. And there is our extrusion along the path. And it's a tube because I've specified the inside and outside radii of the walls of the tube. Let's do a rotation of this just to see what it looks like. We'll do it from there. Now, as you move around the screen, you might think that this is not totally circular, particularly when you get into areas like this. Let me move this a little bit and rotate again. So as I move it this way, you kind of get the impression that this is not actually a proper tube all the way down. That's only because of the shading method I'm using, which includes solar, and solar creates quite distinct shadows. If you turn off solar and rotate it, you'll find that this is a proper tube. So that's fairly straightforward. Let me draw another profile. Again, I'm going to go to SmartLine, and I'm going to draw something like this. I'm going to go up for a bit. Switch to arcs, drag in this direction, but I need to change the compass first. Let's go back to wireframe. So I'm going to drag an arc which runs upwards like that. Drop it to 90 degrees, press tilde to get me back into lines, drag a line, sharp corner, change the compass, come back on the axis, change the axis, drop down a little bit. And the axis is off a little bit, so let's do a T to top to rotate that correctly, and now we can get a vertical. There we go. So there's a path in 3 dimensions. I'm going to add a profile to this. Start there, top orientation, and just drag a profile that looks a bit like that. So there's my profile and my path. Let's start the tool. First thing we do is turn off circular. We'll leave everything else as it is. And we select the element for the path as per the prompt, which also gives us the direction of the path, and select the profile. Now, be careful where you select the profile. I'm selecting my profile right at the same corner as the path, and more data point there, and it shows it to me waiting for my approval. So I data point to accept it, and there we see the wireframe. Let's turn that into shaded. So I have smooth transitions where we have an arc, but mitre transitions when we have square corners. So please practice, draw some more paths for yourself, try different profiles, and just to show you a little bit more, I'm going to undo that, and I am going to move this profile. I'm in top view, so that's fine. So I can move it, say, to there. And we repeat the process. So now we can select the extrusion tool. Now we can select the path and select the profile and accept. And what's happened, of course, is since the profile was offset from the path, then so is the extrusion. So in other words, you don't have to have the extrusion on the path, as it were. It can be offset from the path. So as you can see, this is a very nice tool, and it does solve a lot of problems for some types of geometry. So practice, please. Try different shapes, try different options in the tool settings window, try different ways of using this tool.